What's up, everyone? Nima here, and I have an important message to convey, and that is do not judge a game before you play it. See, I had that, and that's how I handle all of my reviews. I don't ever assume anything about a game until I play it, because there's been some that have really surprised me. But I fell into my same trap as I was setting up to do a video, and I did the full video, and at some point maybe I might release it, but it's pretty bad. But my whole, I don't know, my thoughts in that video were that retro gaming kind of sucks. They're not really worth the price, and they're not fun. And wow, was I wrong. And I guess the thing about what I find funny about this whole thing is in that video, which again I'm not sure I'm gonna release, you can you can hear me like running with so much confidence. Like I'm like, oh yeah, see these games are horrible. I can show you most of these games are worse than anything I've reviewed, and so the whole process then was to review some of these like old school NES games. And just kind of review them live, and I can make my point just right then. Like, see, this is why this sucks, and this is why. And the exact opposite happened. Like, seriously, goes to a point where I'm like, well, okay, well, this is fun. This is pretty awesome. Oh, I like this. The Kirby game. I think Kirby for NES is better than any other Kirby I've ever played. And yes, that's including the new one that's out. I'm just saying, like, I know that probably is a hot take too in some form, but it all started because we had a family friend over, and he was telling me and my son about all these games. He was like, "Oh, these just suck. These suck. These suck." And basically, essentially, he was on the I don't know the theology, the idea that if a game basically came out before, I don't know, 2000, they sucked. And I totally disagree with that. But because what really sparked this whole conversation is Elden Ring. I was playing Elden Ring, and he was like, "Oh, this is horrible," and I can't stand most of these games. And I was like, "No, dude, this is a really fun, cool game." And yeah, like it really turned into, it wasn't like a fight or anything, but it turned into this discussion where I'm basically calling him out and saying like, well, just because a game is retro doesn't mean it's the greatest thing ever, okay? And that kind of made me think more and more about a lot of the gamers I know, especially a lot of the retro gamers, and that is like their opinion is like there's a certain like time frame, whether it be NES or some of them it's like arcade. Others, maybe it's like the 64, or the what I was gonna say is the Xbox 360, and they just stop gaming after that, and they assume that everything sucks after that. And you try to explain to them, no, there's a lot of great games. Indie guys are doing like amazing. There's so many indie developers out there who are making some of the best games that I've ever played, and I'm sorry, but my thought and my first idea was to go in and just show like how, I don't know, that retro games are not as great as what people think they are. And I should not have went in there with an idea of that before I actually played some retro games. Because I started playing like Ninja Gaiden and Kirby, and I started playing Double Dragon. And I noticed myself, I just kept playing them. And I hadn't stopped. And even, like I said with Kirby, I was outright impressed. I was like, this game is great. So, yeah, just a nice little life lesson there. Don't judge a book by its cover, essentially. Don't plan, what's the old saying? Don't plan the funeral before the body dies, that kind of thing. Like, don't assume, especially if you're going to be, you have to have an open mind. I will say that, because I definitely had like an open mind going into this game, or to all the games, I should say. And it's just funny though. That's all. Anyway, guys, I guess I will finish this, because I didn't want to make it very long. The original video is like 25 minutes long of me playing these games, but the one thing I guess I will say is my base argument started off as I don't think the retro games are worth their value, and I do stick to that. Like, I wouldn't pay all the money that people want for a bunch of different retro games or systems. Like, I just think it's ridiculous that there's some games out there that are $200-$300. Like, I absolutely adore Suikoden for the PlayStation 1, but I'm not gonna pay $300-$400 for that game. It's not worth it. It's not worth $400-$500 or whatever it is. It's fun, sure. I have great memories of it, but it's not that good. I mean, you're talking about, in some ways, like the cost of an entire system, and you're gonna tell me that game is somewhere close to being the same value as, like, I don't know, a PS5? Like, come on. That's all I'm saying. Is that's, they're not the be all and end all. They're great, and I think that we in a lot of ways we get scalped. Like, our nostalgia is used against us, for some of us, obviously not for me, since a lot of these I'd never played before, but for a lot of people. And it's used against us so that they can charge this incredibly crazy rate on it, and so that people can turn that into, different types of money, tax hiding spots, and I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, like with WATA games and NFTs and all that. Like, that whole market has been manipulated, and yeah, there's more to go in on that. But my point is like, a lot of it has just been used against us, for nostalgia's sake. And even though these games are great, they're not like that great, I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. But anyway, guys, I will talk to y'all later. We got a couple reviews coming out. Terrobane, which is a really fun game. That one's coming out here pretty soon. And yeah, until then, you guys take care. See you later. Bye-bye.